Okay, next part. Let's look around the library, see what's what. There we go again. Controller! D-pad, please, stop! Goodness. Controller, not do this to me. Why does this happen? Okay. What is this? This statue is much older than everything else. Of course it is. Oh, okay, I'm definitely gonna need the flashlight here. Alright. Okay. I don't have the time to read. Well, except for the 4 books, I think 4 books, that we need to look at. Then, of course, afterwards, we gotta burn the library down. That's what Mama Morton wants us to do. Oh. Richard Morton back from an exploration in front of one of his ships. The history of the famous Boston dynasty is a tale full of unexplained events, surprises, and troubles. Some will claim my only goal in telling it is to damage the reputation of one of the most legendary fortunes of Massachusetts. I would like to say in my defense that I am simply doing my duty as a historian. My account is based on reliable sources and interviews with witnesses who, though they may be evasive, are no less worthy of our interest. If I echo certain rumors, it is in the belief that they too are constitutive of the Morton family history. Price goods, Morton Oil Company, Rock Oil. Contract for the exploitation of natural resources in Puebla, Venezuela. Signed by a representative of the Venezuelan government and by Richard Morton. The Morton family roots in America go back to the time of the great demographic changes during the decades following the founding of the USA. Although it is impossible to reconstruct the family history further back than the beginning of the 19th century, it appears that the family originated from the small town of Whitechapel in Sussex, England. It was Robert Morton, a linen merchant, who led his family to the American continent in 1823. He built his first paper factory on the heights of Beacon Hill. The success of Morton Papers was dazzling. It was Richard Morton, though his older brother, who founded the real Morton Empire by creating the Morton Oil Company on March 23, 1889, at the age of 37. The Iceman. The Morton family's history of secrecy started with the discovery of a man in the ice during one of his company's prospecting expeditions in Greenland between 1891 and 93. Richard Morton, the influential public figure, became increasingly reclusive, abandoning the powerful Boston society circles he frequented to launch himself into daring expeditions that led him back, time after time, to to the site of his first macabre discovery. Or macabre. How are you supposed to pronounce it? Deserto in the background. To assist in his missions, which sometimes ended in human and financial disaster, he called upon Swedish and Norwegian sailors and mercenaries, among whom was a certain Judas Deserto. Deserto was a risk-taker, a warrior, and a clairvoyant interested in the arts of black magic. He was a suspicious character who seemed to have great influence over Richard Morton. The exact cause of this terrible accident was never uncovered. Against expectations, the family business was flourishing. The Morton Oil Company won over market after market in Venezuela, in Indonesia, and in the North Sea. Its competitors, meanwhile, were struck by a string of surprising misfortunes. Their key negotiators had accidents, their directors developed mental health problems, and their lawyers would cave in, suddenly agreeing to disadvantageous settlements. Disadvantageous settlements. I can't read for some reason. No public or private investigation managed to pin a criminal charge on the Morton Group. The family's fortune was known to be huge. However, no one knew how huge. Gibson around 1900. Samuel Gibson entered into Richard Morton's service on June 20th, 1899. This brilliant student had a knack for deciphering ancient languages. It turned out that Morton had entrusted him with the translation of inscriptions on tablets found near the famous Iceman. Gibson's work led Richard Morton to Shadow Island. Offshore view of Shadow Island. The fort that overlooks the island's bleak moors had been abandoned for a good 20 or so years. Soldiers stationed there had experienced hallucinations or suffered sudden bouts of sheer madness. Others simply disappeared without trace. I should also mention a strange legend that claims the chapel situated near the fort had been the site of strange rituals during the 17th century, during which human sacrifices might have taken place. The state of Massachusetts needed no convincing when Richard Morton offered to buy Shadow Island, which he did for a nominal sum. It seems that, to start with, Richard Morton wanted to make the fort his home. He spent a real fortune and superhuman effort on this task before abandoning the idea. He elected instead to build a strange manor on the south side of the island. His decision to buy Shadow Island and live there was because the engravings on the stone tablets were similar to those found in the island's deepest underground passageways. Letter from Gibson to his fiancée, dated October 14th, 1902. As work on translation of the engravings advanced, relations between Morton and Gibson deteriorated. The student relished the romanticism of his work, whereas Morton seemed devoured by a destructive passion. What's more, Gibson's discoveries seemed to terrify him. He confided his worries and fears in a long letter addressed to his young fiancée, who had stayed on the mainland. This was the last that was heard of him. Gibson's mother later received this terse message: "Your son has disappeared. His body has not been found. My condolences. Signed, Richard Morton." Search warrant. Unknown girl, oh boy. The peak of Richard Morton's disturbing activity coincided with a wave of disappearances among the young girls of Boston's poorer neighborhoods. This is the most disturbing episode of his life. It is my definite belief that, driven by the evil Deserto, the founder of the Morton dynasty was practicing black magic rituals involving the sacrifice of innocent souls. Without doubt, in the very chapel, sacrifices had taken place there 3 centuries earlier. To what end, I do not know. The first disappearances started in October/November 1903. They continued with the frightening regularity of one a month, increasing during periods of equinox until Richard Morton died on April 13th, 1905. On this date, the disappearances mysteriously stopped. Archibald Morton as a child. In 1874, Archibald Morton was born, the only child of Richard Morton and Susan Chalmers. Is it Chalmers? Chalmers? I think it's Chalmers. The youngest daughter of Lord Chalmers, a ruined aristocrat and opium addict. While the Morton Oil Company's business prospered, Archibald devoted his youth to the study of the polar circles. Like his father, he mounted many expeditions. Like his father, he also developed a fascination for Shadow Island and its strange secrets. Young Polynesian men and women in the hold of a ship. It has slowly emerged that large numbers of young men and women were uprooted from their distant homelands and taken to the island from as early as the end of 1905. Archibald was, in this matter, more discreet than his father. Evidence of this is found not only in the accounts of some sailors, but also in the written confessions of a slave trader, Thomas Plunkett, in which Deserto's name is cited several times. It seems, however, that no trace of these unfortunate men and women has ever been found on this island. Archibald Morton and Jennifer Pritchett. It's probably Pritchett. In 1897, Archibald Morton married his first wife, Jennifer Pritchett, a pastor's daughter and a renowned organist. She was a devout Christian and wrote long letters to her father, recounting her disgust for her husband and her despair. The pastor, however, had disappeared the day after the marriage. The undelivered letters were kept in the postal archives, where I discovered them, still sealed. Archibald treated her with uncommon cruelty. She nevertheless gave birth to his son in 1899. Jeremy Morton as a child. Jeremy was of a weak and delicate nature, but early in life he already showed signs of exceptional intelligence. He too was haunted by the secrets of Shadow Island, but his general approach was more scientific. Jeremy Morton was an inventor. The breadth and originality of his inventions, which he never even bothered to patent, is highly impressive. He attended congresses and addressed conferences. In 1922, he struck up a lasting friendship with one of the last descendants of the Adcanis tribe, Joseph Enenshaw. The Native Americans settled on Shadow Island in 1924. Invoice from the Noble Company, addressed to Jeremy Morton. Noble Company, invoice, something. It appears that Jeremy Morton collected a considerable arsenal of weaponry. In less than 3 years, he ordered over 200 pounds of explosive from the Noble Company in Boston, along with large quantities of phosphorus and magnesium. Hence the magnesium bullets and the phosphorus cartridges. Jeremy Morton and Joseph Enenshaw. The last 10 years of Jeremy Morton's life were the most secretive and mysterious. In his youth and middle age, the inventor, oh my gosh, the inventor genius hobnobbed with the cream of society. He spent his old age, however, as a recluse on the island. Some accounts of this period make the blood run cold. One example is the marriage of his son, Howard, born in 1931, to Lucy Dogan, for which he staged a reception on the island. Relations and members from a distant branch of the family were present. The party was disrupted by drama when the horrifically mutilated body of one of the guests was discovered in the park adjacent to the manor. Lucy's brother, Michael Dogan, claims to have seen a terrifying lizard-like creature with tentacles armed with enormous fangs. The horribly mutilated body of one of the guests. There is no doubt in my mind that the members of the Morton family, Jeremy being no exception, undertook dangerous and frightful experiments on the corpses discovered by Richard and his successors. Experiments that interfere with nature's own course. Resurrections from the dead, crossbreeding, genetic manipulation. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a lot of reading. Was it this? Was it this I just read? Ah, stupid. Okay. Okay. Let's look around some more before I stop, because I'm going to stop this video with this video. Oh? June 1949. I am a Morton. I realize that today. I have tried for so long to escape my destiny, but my willpower was probably not strong enough. My fascination for the world of darkness has vanquished me. But I chose to resist cooperation. A choice my father never had because of that demon, Deserto. For I understood early on that only light can vanquish darkness. The magnesium bullets that were made in Italy have a remarkable effect on the smaller creatures, but they have proved inadequate to deal with the stronger monsters dwelling deep in the entrails of the night. The work of the French scientist de Broglie has greatly inspired my research. The properties of light he discovered and its undulating nature are remarkable. It is thus possible to concentrate and amplify it, to rupture its movement in phase, and thus transform it into a terrible destructive energy. The information I possess about the molecular structure, the molecular structure of the shadows of the night is fragmentary, but my study of them has produced conclusive results that their capacities for absorption of light energy are limited. Photoelectric energy at certain high levels destabilizes its chemical structure. The molecules break down and the entire macro system implodes. If I could build a weapon able to concentrate light energy by factors of up to 100 or even 1,000, then if I had the technology, if there weren't limits, God, if only someone could help me. When Edenshaw defeated Deserto, that malevolent being who led our family down the path to dishonor, I knew that my Indian friend had been sent to me by the gods. As a child, I saw him complete the incantation at the Circle of Stones, facing in the direction of the conjunction. Deserto, who knew their power employed his magical powers to dissimulate some of the statues from the eyes of man. January 13th, 1953. This date will remain engraved on my memory forever. My grandchildren were born today. God alone knows what they will make of their lives. Howard wants to get them away from Shadow Island. I understand his reasons, but I fear that destiny will prove stronger than a poor father's desire. October 14th, 1966. My research advances in leaps and bounds. Time is of the essence. I feel things stirring down below, like they know that a date with destiny is nigh. Their forays into our world of light are becoming increasingly frequent. With every new day, my study of the creatures of darkness greets me with new surprises. It seems that they all possess the same genetic heritage. The expression, however, is unsuitable. The entities are more closely related to minerals than organic life, but I find none better. It's as though they have all been cloned from the same root matter. December 5th, 1969. I have finally managed to strengthen the resonance power of the crystals. Now, only matter stands in my way. I tested the first version of the photoelectric pulsar, and it literally fell to pieces in my hands. I fear I must brace myself for long months of adjustment and careful tuning. Alan continues to show remarkable intuition. His mind seems to be perfectly in tune with the creatures of the night. He even claims that they obey his commands. However, I am unhappy with the direction his research is taking. May 31st, 1973. My strength is abandoning me. Sharp pains shoot through my body like arrows. I have still so much left to do. I now know that Alan belongs to another world entirely. For the first time ever, he told me about his real plans. He wants to fuse light and dark, to restore their original unity, to unify them, so defying their separation. I think he has been waiting for the moment when I am too weak and old to oppose him. God alone knows what he might do. For the first time in my life, last night, I prayed. Lordy. Okay. I think I'm done for now. Yeah. I'm gonna save on another file, another one here, so that way if I have to reload one of these, I will. And there we go. Well, that is it. That is it for today. So, we learned some more things. We're finally in the library now. I got a few scares and a lot of frustrating moments with the controller. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a terrible time playing this game. Being that this controller just sucks. I definitely have to go and repair this controller somehow. Nope. Anyway, despite some of the things that happened this session, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and click on the bell icon for more notifications if that's what you want. It is Sunday, January 5th, 2025, 11:49 a.m. I may be back with more of this on the 6th or 7th, depending, or maybe I'll go back to Dragon's Dogma. I don't know. Though, either later or tomorrow, I will get back to live streaming Halo Infinite, because I really do need to finish this week's challenges. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. You take care now. The sounds of sighs hasn't echoed off these walls for over 20 years.